In this video, we're going to look at direct proportion. Direct proportion is when, as one quantity increases, then the other quantity also increases. So it would be that sort of graph. So an example would be, if you're buying something in the shop, the more you buy of something, the more you should expect to pay. Now, everything is not in direct proportion. Some things are indirectly proportional to each other, where, for example, if you're traveling somewhere, the faster you go, so as your speed increases, the time that it will take you to get there will actually decrease. But most of the examples we're going to look at today are going to be direct proportion. So as one thing increases, then the other thing also increases. This first example says, if 2 oranges cost 20 pence, find the cost of 15 oranges. We're doing this in a similar way to we did our ratios. So we're going to say that 2 costs 20 pence. Then you work out what 1 costs. 1 would then cost just 10 pence. And then if you get 15, 15 will cost 15 times 10, so it's going to be 150 pence, or £1.50. So how have we done this? We've divided by 2 to get what just 1 costs. And then we multiply by 15 to get what 15 costs. And that is it. Very, very easy. So something you could have done, I would imagine, without seeing this. It's fairly straightforward. Slightly trickier example now, example 2. It says a stack of 250 sheets of paper is 1.5 centimeters thick. How thick is a stack of 400 sheets of this paper? So I'm going to do this a couple of ways. So part A, I'm just going to do the same way as I did the last one there. I'm going to say 250 sheets is 1.5 centimeters thick. So what we would do is go down and find out what 1 sheet would be. So how you're going to do that is you're going to divide by 250. And if you do that on your calculator, 1.5 divided by 250 is, and it works out to be 0.006. And then to get up to 400 sheets, you're just going to say 400 sheets is going to be, and multiply that by 400, and 0.006 times 400 gives you 2.4, and that's going to be centimeters. Okay, another way of doing it, we could have looked at our ratios, and maybe a wee bit nicer way of, maybe a slightly nicer way of doing it. So you've got 250 sheets is equivalent to 1.5 centimeters. And then we'll just, if we write it out this way, we can then say, I want to get to 400 sheets. It'll take a couple of lines to do this. So what I could do is go down to 50 sheets instead of going down to 1. And then go up to 400. So how I would get from 250 sheets down to 50 is by dividing by 5. And then how I get up from 50 sheets up to 400 is by multiplying by 8. So 1.5 divided by 5 would be 0.3 centimeters, and 0.3 centimeters times 8 would be 2.4 centimeters. So maybe a slightly nicer way of doing that question. Okay, last part of this one says, how many sheets are there in a stack 2.7 centimeters thick? Now, what we do know in this question already is we do know the way I've set this one out in the first one. I know that 1 sheet is 0.006 centimeters. So I could use that information to answer this question very easily, but it depends on what way you've set the question out. So if you'd set it out the first method, this is definitely the easiest way of doing the next bit. So you just want to see how many times 0.006 divides into 2.7. So you're doing this sum, and of course you're doing this sum using your calculator. And if you do that, you will get, let me just check, 2.7 divided by 0.006. And that just gives you 450 sheets. Okay, right, maybe you hadn't used that method and you'd use the ratio method, so you're probably going to use the ratio method again. So again, I'll set it out. We know that 250 sheets was equal to 1.5 centimeters, and we want to find out what is equivalent to, how many sheets would be equivalent to 2.7 centimeters. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to again go down to 0.3 centimeters. So I'm going to do that by dividing by 5. And then I'm going to get to here by multiplying by 9. So I'm going to do that on both sides. So 250 divided by 5 is 50 sheets. And then 50 times 9 is going to be 450 sheets. And that is your answer, 450 sheets. So you can see both ways we have got the same thing. Our last example is a very important one. It says 2 bricklayers build a wall in 12 hours. How long will it take 3 bricklayers to build the same wall? So I'll just say 2 take 12 hours. And the good way of doing this is always work down to how long it would take. It would take 1 bricklayer to do it, and then you can go on and find how long it would take 3. Okay, now if you have bricklayers, this is an example where it is not directly proportional to. So the number of people, as the number of bricklayers increases, the time it takes will actually decrease. So if you have 2 bricklayers takes 12 hours. If you had only 1, it's actually going to take you twice as long. So you multiply by 2. So that's a conversation you need to have for yourself in your head. Right, if I have more bricklayers, will it take me more or less time? If I have less bricklayers, will it take me more or less time? So if it's more time it takes you, then you multiply. If it's a less time, then you divide. So it's quite simply that. So if I have only 1 bricklayer, it's going to take me twice as long. So I multiply by 2, which will give me 24 hours. And then if I had 3 bricklayers, would it take me more or less time? So if you had 3 bricklayers compared to 1, it's obviously going to take you less. So you're going to divide by 3. And 24 divided by 3 gives you 8 hours. And that is it.